Welcome to Mogu'shan Vaults LFR Part 2. This guide video is for tanks, healers, and DPS. My name is Evaly, and I'm a monk healer.
I'm Bryna, a monk tank.
And this guide is going to consist of the Spirit Kings, Elegon, and Will the Emperor, all in LFR 25-man.
So to start things off here, to start the trash, you want to talk to Lord Walker Cho. He's the panda that faces the entrance there. He'll run down the stairs and the trash will show up as kind of ghosts down here. So this is the Spirit Kings encounter. What's important to know here is there's actually 4 bosses: Kang, Subtai, Zien, and Meng. Each of them have their own set of unique abilities, but one of their moves will carry over to the other bosses for the rest of the fight, and we'll explain more on that later. At the pole here, stack up on your tank. I'm marked as the star, so hopefully your tank will mark himself or mark him yourself. And stack up on him because he has an ability that splits damage between everyone in front of him, so it'll prevent your tank from getting one shot and prevent you from getting one shot.
Also DPS, if you run and try to pull the boss, you're going to go one shot. So this is Annihilate. It is a frontal cone AoE. All you have to do is run straight through the boss and then just hang out and hit him again. So this is flanking orders. There's guardians around the room, and you know which ones are going to start flanking across the room because they solidify. All they do is march across the room, swinging their axes. Don't stand in front of the march. Tanks, you're going to have to drag the boss out of the way of the straight line. And, DPS and healers and range, there's no reason for you to get hit by flanking orders at all. Flanking orders is one of those special abilities that is going to persist until the end of the fight. So you're always going to have flanking orders. You're going to have to look around the room and see where they're coming from.
One other little pro tip for the healers and DPS is while you're moving out of the flanking orders, maintain your stack on the star as best as you possibly can. This is Subtai, and what's important for this guy is you spread out. You were stacked, now you need to spread out as quickly as possible because of the move he just did there, Volley, where he shoots 3 waves of arrows in a direction. They do increasing damage each wave, so move out of that as fast as possible. The other one there that you just saw was pinning arrows. Looks like the rain of arrows, the old hunter move, and everyone in the AoE gets pinned to the ground with an arrow, and they're stunned. They can't do anything until they're broken out, and you break them out by killing the arrow that's pinning them to the ground. So ideally, it should only be 2 to 3 people with a good spread, but if it's a whole bunch, get over there, AoE them out pretty quick because they do a lot of damage, and if your healers get pinned, they can't heal you either.
So Subtai also does Pillage, and that's his special ability that'll carry over. He hops to a place in the room and then spins in a circle around it. Don't stand in range of his spinning, because it will hurt you, and there's no reason to stand in it. Range, pinning arrows really is your job. DPS just stand the boss to get their numbers up, rather than running around trying to hit pinning arrows.
This next boss is Zien, and tanks and any melee DPS, if you have an interrupt as well, interrupt every shadow blast that you possibly can, because it does a decent amount of AoE damage, and even though it won't kill you, it's worth interrupting to to save your healers a bit of headache.
So Xian does Undying Shadows, which is his special ability that carries over. It spawns a skull that chases someone around the room. Run away from the skull if it spawns on you. Range, you need to kill the skull. Just DPS down the Undying Shadow. Wherever you kill it, it'll spawn a big puddle underneath it. So you don't want that. You don't want to kill it when it's in the middle of the raid. If you get it spawned on you, obviously run away from the raid. Don't drag it through people, and then don't stand in the puddle when it dies.
The Undying Shadow is the special ability that'll carry over for the rest of the fight as well. So there's only one boss left, but you'll continue to put up with those even during the last boss. And try not to drop it in the middle of the room like that.
Alright, so this is Meng. He's the last of the 4 bosses. His big ability is called Maddening Shout. It hurts, so this is where healers are going to get your big numbers up. Same with you, DPS. It basically turns all the people in the raid into enemies of each other. And they need to be DPS down. Once you take a certain amount of damage, then they will be broken out of the Maddening Shout, and they will be healable and stuff like that. They can DPS again. It's very, very important not to crowd control your own raid. That would really, really slow down DPS if you slowed people, stunned them, ice blocked them, whatever. Don't do it. Maddening Shout is where DPS, you're gonna get your big AoE numbers up. Healers, it's where damage is actually starting to get, things are starting to hurt. So try and make sure you have a lot of mana when this phase starts.
And finally, for tanks and melee DPS, interrupt as many crazy thoughts as you can. Each time he successfully casts a crazy thought, he'll get 10 rage. The more rage he has, it buffs one of his special abilities, so he'll either reflect more damage with the more rage he has, or he'll do more damage to the tank with the more rage that he has. So if he's anywhere below about 75 rage, interrupt Maddening Shouts. If he's above 75 rage, then let him go, just so that he caps out quicker and goes back to 0 rage. And he'll alternate in between reflecting damage and increasing damage on your tank.
Alright, these ads right here, the Mogu'shan Secret Keepers put a raid-wide debuff on everyone that will stack up to 10 times. At 10 stacks, it will turn you into solid stone. They need to be despelled around 8 stacks. Healers, make sure that the tanks get their despells. Make sure that yourself gets the despells, otherwise you can't help anyone out. Priests, this is your big moment to use Mass Dispel. Use it on cooldown every single time you can. And just keep an eye on your stacks, and especially the tank stacks. There's no need to turn it into solid stone because you won't be able to DPS or hit anything.
So a little pro tip for tanks here. These next 3 pulls leading up to Elegon all have these Mogu'shan Wardens in it, and you want to be sure that you get out of the blue AoE that they put down in front of them. It doesn't hurt terribly bad, but it does knock you back and do some damage to you, so might as well be friendly to your healers and your DPS by not moving the trash, and move out as many of those AoEs as you possibly can.
Okay, so this is Elegon. It's the second boss in Mogu'shan Vaults Part 2. So this room is circular with a circle in the center. Right now there's a gaping hole there where the floor will spawn. For most of the fight, you will need to be on that glass floor. You'll know if you're on it because you will turn into kind of a celestial star person. You get a big DPS boost if you're on that floor. Now, notice the six dots around them, the 6 pylons. We'll talk about those later. This is a pretty long fight, so healers, if you use a big heal CD, like a 3-minute CD, at the beginning, you'll have it again for the end, and you need to make sure you have it for the end. That's when you're going to get your big heals per second up. This is kind of a tank and spank fight. Range, you're going to love the ads, multi-dots and stuff like that. That's about it.
Tanks throughout the entire time that you're tanking Elegon, make sure you face him away, because he has a celestial breath that you're about to see in a minute, and it hurts pretty bad. It doesn't hurt you too bad, but it will hurt the DPSers really bad, so make sure you face him away. He just spawned a Celestial Protector. You'll want to have your off-tank pick him up, bring him towards the DPSers so they can easily kill him pretty quickly, and then right as he's about to die, somewhere around 20% health, take him off of the glass circle that we're standing on right now. When he dies, he does a AoE called Total Annihilation, and it hurts pretty badly. About 25% of everyone's health to the entire raid, but it'll do way less damage if he's off of the glass, so do your best to get him off the glass.
So this is draw power. The 6 pylons have 6 orbs. The orbs are called energy charges. All 6 need to go down several times. When all 6 go down, you're going to get draw power the second wave. Ideally, in a good LFR, you're going to get like 4 waves of these, 4 to 6 even, I've seen. So kill all these energy charges. Both melee and range needs to do this. Tanks, everyone. Healers, if you're not doing anything, hit the energy charges. The more ways of draw power you get, the more you'll stack a debuff on Elegon that will cause you to do more damage to him. If even one of the energy charges gets to the edge, the glass floor will despawn. So you need to pay attention to see if anything gets to the edge, because the Imperial focuses, the pylons will pop up, and the floor disappears. And people will die because they're staying on the floor and they didn't know about the video. So make sure that you DPS down the energy charges multiple times, and then DPS down the pylons, and then don't jump into the center.
Once all 6 pylons are back, it'll go back to what we saw earlier, where you're just sitting there killing Elegon. Tanks for this part here, help kill the pylons. Once you see these cosmic sparks start to spawn, pick them up. They don't hurt too bad, but might as well keep them from running around. So pick up as many of those as you can.
So now that the floors respawned, go ahead and run back on it and just do what we just did one more time. So this is the final phase of Elegon. The outer room is going to have radiating energies going through it. Don't stand outside the glass floor because you'll just die. You'll just take too much damage. No one's going to bother healing you up. It'll be a waste of heals. So don't do it. Just stand on the glass floor until the boss is dead. This is the last phase. The boss is going to take the most damage because we've already gotten so many draw power stacks on him. So this is where you're going to get the big deeps up. Also, because the radiant energies heals, this is where your numbers are going to go way up. Especially if you can pump out a lot of AoE. So everyone just kind of ticks down in health during this entire phase. You want to make sure that you have 80% of your mana or something like that. going into this phase to keep everyone healed. Oh, and also no ads, no celestial protectors, nothing like that is going to spawn during phase 3.
So this is the Will of the Emperor. It is the last boss fight in Mogu'shan Vault's LFR Part 2. And throughout the first part of the fight, there actually won't be any bosses out. It'll just be waves of ads. And we'll talk more about what to do with those ads in a second. After a few waves, the bosses will spawn one on the left, one on the right. Set up with your tank, which one's going to grab the left boss, which one will grab the right boss. And I'll talk more in a minute where you're going to take those bosses once they spawn.
So there are 3 ad types. This first type here is called an Emperor's Rage. It jumps out from the wall and it spawns in pairs. Emperor's Rage are the most simple of the 3 ad types. You can just DPS them down as fast as you can. You can stun them, you can CC them, do whatever you want. Just DPS them down. The second type of ad is called Emperor's Strength. Emperor's Strength puts a circle on the ground, and then he smashes his hammer into the center of the circle, and stuns anything that is standing inside that circle on the ground. So when this pops up, DPS it down, and don't stand inside the circle.
Tank, since you have nothing to do until the bosses come out, might as well pick up the strengths and tank them, so that you avoid damage going around to other people.
The last type of ad is called an Emperor's Courage. It will fixate on the tank that's furthest away from where it spawns. This ad has a shield in front of it, and DPS, that means that you need to DPS the ad down from behind it. If you try and DPS in front of it, it'll hit the shield and it won't do anything. That's the most important type of ad to kill. So kill the Courages first, then kill the Strengths, then kill the Rages. So that's shield, stun, and then the last 2 that spawn in a pair.
These 2 guys that just dropped out are the bosses, and immediately pick them up tanks and start dragging them backwards to where you entered the room by the stairs. And healers, you want to stay in between where the tanks are, but back towards the back of the room a little bit more so that you're in range of the DPS that are back there killing any ads.
So ranged, you're going to be standing between the two bosses mostly, but your big job is going to be the ads. So make sure that you're in range of all the ads that spawn. You're going to have a little bit of running around to do for that. Melee DPS, you're going to be on average with the tanks underneath the boss's feet. There's a little dance you have to do for this to make sure that you don't take a ridiculous amount of damage and to get your numbers up. Now, if you can't do the dance for whatever reason, you lag or you just suck at it, don't try. Go ahead and DPS down ads with the ranged. You're still going to get pretty damn nice numbers doing it. And if the ads get overwhelming anyway, you're probably going to wipe.
So the dance that Evaly was talking about is what I'm doing here with the devastating combos. Each of the moves is a devastating blow, and he'll indicate which direction he's going to do a devastating blow with a blue slash, and then he'll do the blow 180 degrees in that direction, so you'll want to stand of the opposite side of the blue slash whenever you see that. The other thing that he can do is there won't be any blue slash at all. He'll just raise his foot and it'll be 360 degrees around him, a smaller radius move, so you'll want to be really aware of that and just run straight away from the boss. You'll see me do it here in a second. So if you avoid all 5 of the devastating blows, you'll get that purple button that just showed up in your extra action button 1 slot. Press that and you'll instantly do 500,000 damage to the boss. Tanks, this is especially important for you because for every blow that you stand in, it'll reduce your armor by 10% and the boss will hit you extremely hard.
Right, so this right here is Titan gas. The entire room fills up with the yellow smoke. This is where heals get your numbers up. This is where tanks use your cooldowns. There's raid-wide AoE damage whenever the Titan gas is up, and it's where you're most likely to wipe. Healers, you just rotate through your big cooldowns, rotate through your minor cooldowns. Just keep everyone alive through the Titan gases. They'll spawn, at regular intervals throughout the entire fight. Tanks, make sure you use your personal cooldowns, especially during the Titan gas phase, to make sure that you don't take a ridiculous amount of damage while the healers are focusing on raid healing.
A pro tip for no matter what role you are, if you can get this fight down in LFR, you know it in regular. It's the same exact mechanics and moves. They just hit harder and have more health, etc. So if you have this down in LFR, you know the fight in regular as well.
Thank you for watching our Mogu'shan Vaults Part 2 LFR guide. If our video helped you out, please tell your friends about us and feel free to check out our channel for more videos.